Good. Well, it's our first night back at BB. Those of you that are watching this from wherever you are, in your lounge room or on the train or wherever you are, it's good to have you with us. And we're starting a new series right at the start of the year. And over the Christmas break, I don't know about you, but I got a chance to really listen to a lot of young people. I tend to not talk a lot, and I tend to get out and try and hear what goes on. And at the beach that we stay at, there is literally dozens and dozens of young people within cooee of our caravan park, our caravan. So I can actually sit out on our little, balcony there, and it's our balcony, it's sand, and listen to people talking on the beach and eavesdrop, and just get the tone of what's going on. It's quite interesting how when the breeze blows onshore, that's where it's coming off the water onto the shore, just how much voices travel. And there can be people that can be out in the water, a good 500, 600 metres out in the water, and I can hear them as clear as day when the wind's blowing onshore. And it's just scary sometimes what people are talking about and what they're doing in the water. But the challenge that I've come up with is something that I think every single one of us wrestle with every single day. Doesn't matter what age it is, and I sent it out in the text. If you didn't get the text today, let the girls know. But it was Indentyme, and it's all about identity, your identity. What is my identity? And over the course of sort of 4 or 6 weeks of being away, I was so challenged. I was overwhelmed at times with people who were saying and doing things around their identity, and it was so fascinating. A couple of the guys that were at the beach came up, and now their hair is kind of down to here. They look, some of the other guys were saying, "Oh, it looks like Jesus out in the water. He's coming out of the water. He's not walking on the water, Jesus." As they're coming out. And these guys I've known for 20 years. It was very funny. Came up, gave him a big hug, and I said, "Oh, your hair looks magnificent." And he goes, "Yeah, it's my thing." And I go, "So what would be your thing if you didn't have your hair?" He goes, I don't know, is that a trick question? I said, no, it's not a trick question at all. Sometimes our identity can be simply that, just our hair, just what we have on top of our head. Bex talked about before, what do you call that? Ombre. Plenty of people have commented on her ombre style, and it's quite lovely, and that all of a sudden meets a need within each of us, sort of strokes that little identity within us that makes us feel good about who we are. And so as I listened to that, I thought, you know what? We're going to go after this. We're going to go after this issue of identity, the things that we do, or who we are. And I don't know about you, but I heard so much over the summer break about people struggling with relationships, people struggling to say, I wonder if that boy likes me, or that girl will go out with me, and she's so hot, and would she pay me any attention, and all this sort of stuff was just this yearning to be, I guess, accepted or loved, and knowing whether they were okay in themselves. Now, some of us, if our self-esteem or our identity was on a scale of 1 to 10, some of us might edge towards more towards 10, and others might edge more towards the 1. Depending on how you feel and how you wake up some morning, some of you might feel like a 10 one day, and the next day you might feel like a 2, because of maybe what's happened to you. Do you know, it's a fascinating little statistic that over 70% of young people haven't got a clue about their own identity. They're like this conglomerate of people and personalities and friendship circles. I noticed over the summer, a few of us are hanging out together, and I noticed how one person might have a particular phrase, and another person picks that phrase up, and it's quite funny. And you hang out with somebody long enough, and all of a sudden I go, I remember one of our girls here says, "Okay," one of the girls here, I'm not going to name it because we're on video, and I noticed over the holidays there was a couple of our girls saying that same phrase. So, it's like, remind me of that other girl. And there was other phrases like that I've been around my mates and stuff like that I've picked up, that I've all of a sudden I say this phrase and I go, "Oh, mate, that's like my friend so-and-so." And I go, "Oh, am I not okay in my own identity?" And how all of a sudden does that little phrase that person says all the time get into my brain and go roll around in my brain until it becomes part of my language, and all of a sudden I'm using it in the same context as they use it in. I'm thinking, hang on, am I not my own person? Do I not have my own phrases? and it's quite fascinating how fragile or how needy our actual identity is as a person at different times. You can get into a relationship. We had a beautiful time on the weekend at the engagement. It was very cool to sort of be and see a young couple just in love with one another and just looking at all that. And sometimes, you're in and goes, oh, it's so cute, And I saw other couples there that were in love, and it was quite delightful to watch that. And all of a sudden our identity can be drawn down from the other person, and we're not okay unless they're okay. But we need to learn how to be okay even if they're not okay. And that's tricky, because you can come home, and it could be your parents, could be your brother or sister or your boyfriend or girlfriend, whatever. You could come home and there's this tone about this individual. It could be the way that they look, the way that they're sitting, the size that they do, the kind of the size that they do. They come in and it's like, and you think, oh, hang on, what's going on? And all of a sudden your whole being begins to change because of some other person's environment. I don't know if you all struggle with that. I picked it up several times. Yesterday somebody rang me. I was having a conversation with them and we'd made a decision about selling some things, and this individual rang me, and I put the call on loudspeaker because there were a couple of other people in the room, and I thought, I didn't think anything of it, but I put it on loudspeaker and I wished I hadn't. And so as the person spoke, this tone of the individual was very aggressive, was really like condescending and aggressive, and I'm going, and then it was awkward to kind of put it back. And so I looked at the individuals that were sitting in the room, went, and they're all listening to this combo. I'm going, you're a loudspeaker. Oops, that was probably not a good thing either, because they texted me later. And so the challenge around that is that sometimes our entire persona, we can have a great day at work or at school or out with our mates or whatever, and then we come home and all of a sudden this environment at home is, you go, oh, what? And I remember when I used to come home, when I was at living with my parents, I used to come home, Dad was never home, and I used to always come home and think, as I was preparing to walk in the driveway of my house, I'm thinking, I just hung out with my mates down, at the back of the school somewhere having a CU or something. That's a good thing, that's bad. And I was coming home, I thought, and as I was walking in the driveway, I can remember really vividly, time after time after time, preparing myself for what was in store for me when I opened the door. I had no clue what was in store for me at some times. Other times I knew really clearly what was in store for me because I could hear what was going on in the house. And so sometimes I would head towards the door and I'm thinking, I wonder what mood Mum's in. I wonder what mood my Dad's in. I wonder if Dad's drunk. I wonder if there's a scenario going on here. I wonder if this is happening like this. And I remember, and I have found myself dozens of times, even in my adult life, altering who I am because I'll go into an environment. Have you ever walked in to a conversation and all of a sudden it feels awkward, Stephen, be my model for a moment. So Stephen and I are talking. Kyle, I'm going to get you to just walk in on it. So Stephen and I are sort of talking away here about something. I just want you to walk into the conversation. So we're chatting away.
What's going on, Philip?
Well, I don't know anybody that does that, but It's like, yeah. But they walk in and all of a sudden we go quiet, and that person feels awkward. You ever walked in on one of those?
What are you talking about?
Yeah. What do you? Oh, was that a private conversation? Oh, did I walk in on something? Was that and you begin to... Thanks, models, you were good. And Kyle, you were great. And it's its identity. And the challenge for us sometimes is you can get that really awkward feeling, and you feel like, hang on, am I not meant to be here? Are they talking about me? Have you ever looked across a room and you see some people laughing, and you think, are they laughing at me? None of you would ever feel like that. Those bitches, they're talking about me. What are they laughing at? They could be laughing at something totally like a good joke. And because of the way you feel about you, all of a sudden you feel like they're laughing about you, and all you want to punch on, or you've got it in for them, or you feel like, oh, I hate that person. And they might not have anything to do with you at all. But because of your identity and issues with a fractured identity, you are challenged by the feeling that everybody's talking about you or thinking about you or having conversations about you, and it's all negative. Why could it not be positive?
Should we take it as negative?
Why do we take it negatively, Kyle?
Because most people think in a negative point of view above positive.
Yeah. Why is that?
It's easier. You're insecure.
Someone? We're insecure? Yep. Absolutely. Why do we do that?
Because it comes down to what, I guess, as a young person you've had, drilled into, whether, it's your parents telling you that you're worthless or you're good for nothing, or that, whatever it may be,
Oh, yeah.
it's that. But
There's no question about
But
that.
on the flip side, with the negatives, you can also have the positives as well.
You can?
You're prepared for the worst.
You've got to be ready for it. Now, the interesting part is when we were down the shopping centre selling raffle tickets for the jet ski. You can get yours online, by the way. You can. We were always challenged, always. And Beck will tell you this. There are several times if I'm walking through a shopping centre and I hear a parent talking poorly to their child, it takes incredible restraint for me not to push them through the baked beans at that point, and say, how do you feel about that, or slam them with a bit of bacon or something. Oh, sorry, you're such an idiot for being in the way of my bacon as I threw it around, So don't ever go shopping with me, because if you ever go shopping with me and I hear someone talking poorly to their child, I'm going to be saying something to them. I think we were down the beach, and as we were walking through the shopping centre, we were in that kind of food court at Rosebud there, and I could hear a mum talking to their son. And oh my, I had to hang on to that table because I'm thinking, let it go. Let it go.
Yeah.
My eye was starting to twitch. I was hanging onto the table and going, do they have any clue about the identity of that young person being absolutely destroyed at this point? But so you think, oh, well, that's just because and it's true, it does it sets us up as we go through our life like that, but even as an adult. How do you deal with your identity? Why is your identity so fragile? You personally. Don't say, I've got a friend of mine who's got a friend. How do you personally get your identity need met?
Is this an open question?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an open question.
Oh, I'll go then. I don't think I do, because I've never really thought about it before.
It's interesting. Here's the thing. I have a pair. I'll come back to you, sir. I had a pair of runners, and I've had this pair of runners for about my little Chuck Taylors. I've had them for about 2 or 3 years, and they were Converse runners, and they came very similar to the ones I'm wearing, and they came with a star cut into the canvas and sewn in, so you could actually, they'd cut the star out and put it on the inside. You know the ones I'm talking about? It was the previous before this. And I have searched the world for this pair of, to replace them, this pair of canvas runners. They don't make them anymore. Beck tried her hardest to find them when we were in America, couldn't find them, You can't get them anymore. They don't make them. Well, they do make them in different colours, but I wanted the black Converse with a star in it. Now, as I was out shopping, people have said to me, well, here's a Converse, and I said, no, it's not the same. Well, it's just a flipping runner, man. Get out. I'm thinking, it is true, isn't it? It's just a runner. How pedantic can we get? So anyway, at Christmas time, there was a Christmas present, and these are my new Chuck Taylors.
Yeah.
But do you see a star in them?
No.
It should be on the inside.
Oh my God.
That's what I said. I fell to the floor as I opened this present and said, no! Not one without the star, my identity! I'm wearing them because I got over myself, 'cause the reality is I can't get them anymore. And my identity, it's not a mission. Oh, yeah, it would be a mission. I'm size 10. Yeah.
Why don't you just
so star onto it.
Not the same.
Yeah, they got a star on the back because that matters. You know, so the issue is something as stupid as a pair of shoes. You will not. I don't know how many times I was out with friends, family, my boys, beggars walking through my going, what about these? You know, someone's burning something off, you know, like diesel or something's going on outside. And I'm thinking to myself, what is it possible that, yeah, somebody could be setting light to our jet ski.
Oh, that's right.
No, they're doing bitumen over the other side of the road. It's okay. It's okay. It's the other side of the road. And not our jet ski. It's not insured. Who cares? It's only 10 grand. Anyway, the challenge for us. Our identity isn't in a jet ski.
Mine is.
Much. It can be, can't it? In the car we drive, somebody said to me the other day, Phil, that's a real shit box that you drive. I went, oh. I love lawyers. Lawyers are the best. They give it to you straight up. You know? And I went, I love my car. You know? I said, I love it. And they said, yeah, we know it's good, but it's really crappy. And I said,
Did you do the one the finger?
no, I didn't give them the finger. I said, well, buy me a new one. You're a lawyer. I said, fix my identity and buy me a new one.
Not back and
Should have just
forth.
said your car versus mine. Let's go.
Yeah. Yeah, mine would win.
Yeah.
It's a little Peugeot or something like that. So, anyway, the issue is simply this, guys. Over these next few weeks, I want us to really look at the things, the behaviours that you do. Don't go, I'm not going to go looking at Kyle and saying, oh, Kyle's identity's all wrapped up in that. It's not about your boyfriend or your girlfriend telling you about your identity. Right? It is your responsibility to look at your identity. Going, yeah. Don't you boyfriends and girlfriends look at one another and go, I'm going to tell you how it is. You know? The reality, all of us, every single person on this planet is searching to know who they are and be okay with who they are. Imagine if this year you could challenge that about you. That you could just be in every aspect of your life, whether you're rich or poor, short or tall, fat or thin, blonde or dark, it would not matter one bit. Do you know what? You would be in like the 1% of the planet if you could be that free. And do you know the incredible part about that is when a partner comes along into your potentially into your world, you'll be okay about you, and it won't be about them. But see, we have to do the work. We actually have to look in the mirror and actually have a look at where do I get all of my identity from? Because sometimes we take a risk. Beck takes a risk colouring her hair. Will it look all right, especially with somebody who was her bully? You know, could have shaved her head at that point, you know, has that mohawk, reverse mohawk working out. You know, so the challenge for us is that for some of you, no, it's not some of us. It's every single one of us at every point struggle with our identity. If over 70% of young people struggle with their identity, I have to say after being down the beach, I reckon it's 100% of us. If you're totally honest, 100% of us struggle at times in relationships, with whether what we get out of those relationships, whether they're going to meet our needs or not meet our needs. And why is it sometimes, you know, I had a beautiful lunch with a gal that I'd known for 20 years today, had a lovely lunch, and we laughed about some dumb stuff, you know, and it was just this moment of just sharing just some incredible, funny stories of being knowing one another for 20 years, and it was just that, it was like, not an identity moment, just a moment of like, oh yeah. And imagine if you could feel that euphoric feeling all day, every day, rather than feeling like you have to actually earn and yearn for your own identity through other people. It's going to be a very challenging little journey, should you be willing to journey in. Some of you won't. Some of you will get to the prickly point and you will pull back. You know, because you go, oh God, here he goes again, he's going to dig it over. Yes, we are. Because, you know, the one thing that we're committed about here at Bridge Builders is our 10 days. Is that helping you get healthy. Helping you be okay about you. Valuing you. talking about how amazing you are, how gifted you are, how talented you are, how beautiful you are, what colour your eyes are, what the length of your hair, you know, how old you are and how amazingly wise you are. You know, all those kinds of things that we want to be able to say about us. You know? And so I want to encourage you guys, over these next weeks, invite your friends. If you see your friends, brothers, sisters, whatever it is, struggling with their own identity, don't say, oh man, we're doing a series, you need to get here. You just say, hey, listen, I'd like you to come along to Bridge Builders. You know, I'm being really challenged at the moment about stuff in my own life. You know, that's the kind of conversation. You really don't accuse somebody else that they're not okay. None of us are okay all the time, all right? Not one. So, if you're okay, we're going to look at your identity. Don't go, oh yeah, I see, you know, when Kyle does this, or Phil does that, or David does this, or Jordan does that, or Steve does this. Oh, that's because of their identity. Who cares, even if it is? This is about you being okay about you. Would that be okay? Yes. Is that a thumbs up? Good job. Because I can tell you one thing, I on my whole life, and nobody took the time to actually say, you know what, Phil, I'm going to work on your identity. Because that's an ugly little space sometimes to get into. Because they need to be able to tell you the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the stuff that's good about your identity, the stuff that needs some work, and the stuff that's downright ugly, that just needs to be gone.